more pretty sunsets. It's one thing you get in Oklahoma. Sky is always pretty. It's probably the chemical fog we live in. This is whatever. This is not. I'm gonna call this night patrol. Fuck it, because I just want to bitch. And the thing that I'd like to bitch about is basically that when gas was expensive, I was like, oh man, gas is expensive. But I still had the same amount of gas I would have had otherwise. And I still drove everywhere that I was going to drive. But not everybody else did that. Because not everybody else did that, it made it rather pleasurable to go driving. So maybe I'm just elitist scum or whatever, but currently in Tulsa, it's fucking crazy out there at 3 or 4 o'clock in the after goddamn noon, because I don't know, I think there's a bunch of Californians and a bunch of Mexicans here who didn't ever drive, and now there's like fucking cheap gas. That's cool. Anyway, with all the cheap gas and these people like never having driven before, they're just going out and like driving in circles and shit. And like, as someone who does that, I notice it when other people do that shit. I don't drive in circles a lot, but like, if I'm stressed out about something, I will go and take a drive around a loop around Tulsa just to fucking do it. In Missouri, I used to drive back roads when I was like that, and being a smaller town and on the edge of town, I could just do that whenever I wanted. In Tulsa, fuck. Basically, the drive to the back roads and back for me is as much as I'd want to drive. So, I just do a loop in Midtown somewhere. And it seems like there's a whole bunch of fucking people that like just don't have anything to do and don't really have any money. And now gas is $2 a gallon. So let's go honky tonkin'. You know, if you ever heard the fucking song Honky Tonkin' by Hank Williams Jr., that's what people are doing right now. It's like, hey man, I've got $20, you've got $20, let's have $40 together and go get a motel room and fuck all night. That's my interpretation anyway. Maybe that's not what other people would do. That's what I would do. I went and got weed and margaritas and fucking all sorts of shit. I got paid for something I did a couple of weeks ago, and it's weird to get paid on a Friday for me, because I don't usually get that. So like, it's like Friday and everybody's getting their money, you know, like I get to go get weed with everybody else. Ordinarily, I make money on the side in odd ways and whatever, and like it never comes through on Friday. Like it's always just a random day, and I don't know. It makes it something that like I legitimately am a better prepper because of what I do. A lot of people don't get that, but you can't take what I do away from me. What I mean by that, what I mean is I make knives, I fix things, I do all sorts of things, carpentry work. Tell me what you need done. If it's within my capabilities, I'll do it for money. And like, as a result of that, I don't know. I wish I could make more money doing it, but at the moment, I kind of like where I'm at, and I don't really want to make more money for tax reasons. And then there's the whole idea of like going to Alaska and shit, and I don't know how that would work out, because like, we'd be making a fuck ton of money, but we would also be spending a fuck ton of money, and there's, you know, a part of it I don't know. My buddy Blazer made a video, and he didn't make a video, sorry. He sent me a fucking text message. I made a video to Blazer about a plan to go to Alaska and whatever. That he and I bounce back and forth all the time. You guys have heard this going on for 6 months now. This has been going on for the better part of 10 years. You should know that. And we're serious about it. I met him when I was in college. And I met him through Ebomi, of all people. That's right, I met my best friend through Ebomi. Small old world. I threw something into a giveaway Ebomi was doing, and Blazer saw my whole channel and that I was in Springfield, Missouri, where he was, from that. So, like, I threw a Spyderco knife into Ebomi's giveaway, and I got a best friend out of it. Isn't that fucking awesome? I think it's pretty awesome. It was a Spyderco Endura 4 full flat grind in VG10 in Tiffany blue. Really slick knife. And like, it wasn't called Tiffany blue back then. It was like a sky blue, and everybody who was a guy thought it was cool. I just bought it because, you know, I like Tiffany blue, as you might guess. Also, the paint job there, the blue across the back with the heart and crosses and shit, I'm just hoping that some cop takes that as, I suck cock dick, don't write me a ticket. That was kind of true. I do love a man in uniform. But that's why that's blue and not other colors. You know, there's a method to most of my madness, and like, the sad part is that I'm quite mad, but I'm also fun to hang with. But in Blazer's video response, in Blazer's comment, sorry, he fucking said that something that I already knew, but I'd forgotten and whatever. Is basically that in the Southlands, stuff cost X. In the Northlands, it has to get shipped there. So if we're gonna fucking roll rigs there, we should fucking attach trailers to everything we're bringing, because the trailer itself is worth money up there. That's what I pointed out. He didn't point that out, but we could sell the trailers. But the rest of it is, you load that shit with like generators and jacks and the sorts of shit that people just need up there, and you'll get 3 or 4 times your money on a lot of that shit. That means anything that we accrue here in the Southlands, we can multiply a great deal when we go to Alaska, if we take it in the form of fucking items. And like, his idea was, hey, we figure out where we're gonna go, and we find a couple of stores up there where we're gonna do it, and like, we get a list from them of shit that they will buy at prices they will buy it for, and we just bring 2 trucks full of that shit. I kind of tell them what we're doing, like, we're gonna just pack it full of anything else we can fucking cram in. It's like, honestly, it's gonna take roughly the same amount of gas no matter what. Well, my shit's heavy, his shit's heavy. Packing in some extra shit around it, not a big deal. See what I mean about all the traffic? A lot of people just driving around. Those people don't live here. It should disturb you that I know that they don't live here. Yeah, it's kind of like that. If they do live here, they live on like the other side of 31st Street. I'm kind of a savant. I have an eidetic memory, photographic memory, whatever. Again, I haven't seen every car in this neighborhood, but I go drive around for fun. I see the cars that are here a lot. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't fucking trust my memory so much now that I smoke so much weed. But like, that's the funny part. A lot of people are like, oh, you have memory problems on weed. Yeah, I had some fucking hellacious ones. And they kind of like, it's like a roller coaster ride. You just stick with it and keep smoking, you get your memory back. I don't know what's up with that. Of course, I also did some like LSD and a couple other things in there that might have affected that whole shebang, but I'll take it either way. The whole short-term memory loss thing is kind of sucky. It's the suckiest part of weed, but it's so much fun to be high. Alaska, I don't think has legal weed, so that would suck. And this is where, like, if we did go Alaska, we would need our own space from the start, because otherwise you're just spending money up there. And his idea was also take one of those trailers and buy an insulated trailer, put a wood stove in it with a couple of bunks, and, like, if we had to, that's an impromptu cabin to make it through the first winter. And that's really not a horrible idea. It would suck something fierce, but, you know, that might be where it's at. It's one of those, like, we want an adventure. This is an adventure. Like, ever since we met in college, he and I have been, you know, spitballing back and forth about different things to go do. And since the world really started ending hardcore, basically there was a 6-month gap where I knew what we needed to do and knew how bad the world was ending, and Blazer didn't agree. 6 months later, he's like, yeah, I'm buying land someplace and homesteading. I'm like, what happened? He's like, you were right. I'm like, well, I told you. He's like, you still want to do it? I'm like, yep. He's like, you still got the money? Like, I bought food. Like, we could have food. He's like, what did you buy? I told him what I bought. He's like, okay, that's as good as money. I'm like, it's better. Like, you're correct. Because, like, we're going to need time on target wherever we are. And the stuff that I bought is just a bunch of, like, canned staples kind of shit that, like, basically it makes your grocery bills about 1 billion times easier while you're anywhere. That's, like, the magic of having grandma's stack of cans. If you run out of money, you always have food, at least. And up there, you could probably even sell some of that shit. I don't know, but I'm glad that he's thinking similarly, I guess. I don't think we're really going to go Alaska, but what I was telling him is, if you're prepared to do this in Alaska, you could do it in any state. And he's like, mm-hmm. So, like, the lower 48 is, you know, basically Alaska, but everything's cheaper and easier, but there's no ability to make money in the ways that I was talking about. There's no adventure. And, like, we want money and adventure. So, I don't know. If we do it in the lower 48, we're going to have to find different ways to make money, probably. One of those things like small town Alaska, carpenter hanging a shingle out probably is going to do all right. Small town, you know, Missouri, there's a lot of competition there, first off. Second off, I don't know, like, this is just an example of a state. Same thing with Oklahoma, though. Basically, is in the Southlands, there's too many people down here. And that's half of why I think Alaska's the place to move to. Unless they get invaded by Russia. You know, that's that whole, like, asterisk, right? But, like, he and I both like the movie Red Dawn. He just watched it the other night while I was watching March or Die. So, like, the thought of having our fucking, like, castle that we're building, like, Mountain Man style in the woods with modern guns, you know, having it be someplace the Russians might actually invade. I like the sound of that. I don't know. It's a romantic way to die, at least. If the Russians are invading, I think we're all going to die. That's one thing you should get. Just be prepared to die gloriously on the field of battle. It amazes me how many people in the 21st century are so afraid of death that they've never done anything. Go do something. I'll see you guys later.